So in this section, we start talking about the foundation of successful sales and marketing business. And we start with the philosophy of buying brain cells and also my definition of sales. Early in my career, there were no mortgage gurus or real estate training. I was basically given a territory by the SNL I worked for and was told to go visit real estate offices and drop off rate sheets and donuts. That's probably a foreign concept to a lot of you, but that's how it was back then in the 1980s. Now, I was also given leads of borrowers who were customers of the bank that I worked for as well. Both of those things worked out pretty well, but I knew there had to be better ideas than that. Calling on real estate offices was hit or miss, particularly as the higher volume realtors all had lending relationships already. And I found out, I was fairly naive back then, that most of them were being paid cash for mortgage referrals. Now, that was early in my career, and cash was king. I didn't have the cash to pay for leads. I also did not want to be dependent on the bank leads, as I didn't really have control over my deal flow. Fortunately, like you and your interest in my program, I was always looking for a better way. As a result, I had the supreme luck to discover a woman by the name of Deborah Jones. Deborah was a loan officer and also owned a mortgage broker shop. She also put out a loan originator newsletter, which I think was the first of its kind. She was very experienced and very successful. To this day, I do not remember how I found her, but boy, was I glad that I did. Of all the things that Deborah shared with me, the one thing that she said that really stuck with me and became the foundation of my marketing was, "We are in the business of buying brain cells." Now, what the heck does that mean? What it means is that we have an obligation in our career to make sure that as many people as possible know what we do for a living and how we can assist them. This sounds pretty basic and logical, right? But do you actually do this? In fact, does everyone you know in your family and friendships know what you do and how you can help them? I've known loan officers who were reluctant to do this as they did not want to be pushy or take advantage of a relationship or friendship. They actually believed it was better to do business with strangers. Bull hockey. Let me tell you why. When I was a young guy, I was dating a girl who got me involved in Nu Skin. For those of you who don't know, Nu Skin is an MLM or multi-level marketing company. Basically, although you did sell products, in the case of Nu Skin, beauty products, not exactly my sweet spot, the actual goal of an MLM was to sign up other people under you in a pyramid structure, where you made commissions off of them. Some people actually did call it a pyramid scheme. Now, I met some people who did very well with the MLM structure, but from my perspective, it was not my cup of tea. However, the reason I tell you that is I was exposed to some great marketing concepts through Nu Skin. One of which is the concept that every person we meet potentially has a circle of influence of 250 other people. Wow. That means in theory that everyone I meet had contact with up to 250 other people. Now that may be a bit of exaggeration, 250 is a lot, right? But even another 50 people is pretty darn good. And what does this have to do with buying brain cells? First of all, let's talk about my definition of sales. Very simply, sales is an exercise in memorization. Your goal is to get people to memorize what you offer and what problem you solve. That's it. Because the more people that know what you offer and what problem you solve, the better chance you will generate sales. And the 250 circle of influence concept gets you potentially in contact with more people at a deeper level. Think about that. And let me give you an example. One of the suggestions that Deborah gave me was to send out snail mail to my past customers. So one year I sent out Thanksgiving Day cards. I only had about 50 people in my database, so it was pretty easy to do. The week after Thanksgiving, I received a call from a woman who told me I was the topic of conversation at their Thanksgiving dinner. Really? I said, yes. You did a mortgage for my sister last spring, and she received your Thanksgiving Day card with your business card in. I mentioned at dinner that I was buying a house, and needed a mortgage, so she gave me your card. Boom, circle of influence. My former business partner's name was Peter. Although we both originated loans, Peter was able to originate loans purely on the basis of his personality. He was a big, gregarious guy who could walk into a room full of realtors and within 15 minutes be surrounded by a group all laughing along with his story. God, I was so jealous of it. It was such a gift. But as time went on, the thing that kept his business going year after year after year was that there was no one that Peter knew who did not know what he did for a living and how he could assist them or their friends. In fact, I used to tease him he should change his name to Peter Mortgage. To this day, at almost 70 years of age, he is still a very successful mortgage originator, originating $3 to $5 million a month. Another concept to understand regarding brain cells is that most people operate under the acronym of WWIFM, or what's in it for me. Everyone has their own self-interest in mind. As life gets busier and busier, people want you to make things easy for them. As a result, I encourage all my clients to put together a what do I do statement. In the what do you do statement, it's a very concise elevator pitch or statement of exactly what you do to help someone. You need to address the demographic you are targeting, the problem they have, the result you deliver, and the pain or discomfort that you address. Listed here is the what do I do statement in my fix and flip lending email signature. I help real estate investors overcome bait and switch lenders and the documentation treadmill so you can fund more deals quickly with less hassle and make more money without added stress and anxiety. So my demographic is real estate investors. The problem is bait and switch and heavy documentation, which is rampant in the fix and flip business. The result for my demographic is making more money, and the pain relief for my demographic is less stress and anxiety. I strongly encourage you to put together a what do I do statement or multiple statements depending on your targeted demographic. It should be something you can easily convey to someone in a conversation, on your business card, and in your email statements. Now, in the final part of this session, I want to give you an analogy to drive home my point about getting the word out about your business. Some of you may have heard of Johnny Appleseed. Did you know that Johnny Appleseed was actually a real person named Johnny Chapman? He really did walk across the Midwest planting apple trees, so much so that he ended up personally owning 1,200 acres of apple trees. Apparently back then, if you planted the tree, you owned it. Ultimately, those trees provided a significant amount of fruit and cider to American pioneers as they traveled west and settled in the area. I encourage all my clients to think like Johnny Appleseed. The more seeds you plant, the more fruit you will get. Whether it's sending out emails, mailing cards, making cold calls, or meeting people face to face, you have to be always planting seeds. The more people you can tell what you do, the more chances you have of doing business. I know of one guy who used to go to a football game, and when a team scored a touchdown, he would throw his business cards in the air like confetti. Because his card had his what do I do statement on the back, he actually got deals as a result. Think about going out to dinner. If you leave a good tip, leave your business card. If your what do I do statement is on the back, people will know how you can help them. You can't keep what you do a secret. Well, what if you're new in the business and maybe you're hitting a roadblock trying to meet people and make contacts? Where do you start? In the next section, I will talk to you about starting where you are and how you can easily make contacts immediately. But before I move on to that topic, I want to touch on the concept of a database. Everything I talk about in this program revolves around building a database of contacts and using that as a marketing tool. I will dive deeply into this concept in the section titled Your Database, but for now, keep that in the back of your mind. We will also talk about the importance of consistency and the impact of building recognition with your contacts over a period of time. Next, let's talk about starting where you are. Thanks.